Hi, my name's Andy. I thought I'd just make a quick video showing off a few of my old computers. I've collected quite a few over the years, mainly Amigas and Acorns, but I've got a few other bits and bobs like an Atari Falcon and a Sharp X68000. I don't normally do any voiceover on my videos, so just bear with me, because it's the first time I've done this. So I thought I'd kick off with my Amiga 4000, which is what you can see here. So I've had this maybe 5 years or so. It's had a few upgrades over the time, so I'll talk you through what it's got. So accelerator wise, you can see down there that's a Cyberstorm Mark II. It's got an 060 processor on it, currently clocked at 66 MHz. It will do 72, but I've just kept it at 66, so it doesn't get too hot. I'm not actually using the SCSI expansion on it, I'm just using the machine's normal IDE, and you can see there's an SD card tucked away. It's got a normal CD-ROM drive there. I've taken out the standard AT power supply, which was actually still in pretty good nick. It worked quite well, but I've replaced it with a silent SFX one, which takes up a lot less space and provides a lot more kind of power for all the other upgrades. So the other big thing which goes on with this machine is it's got a mediator bus board, which removes the ISA slots and replaces them with PCI slots. So you still get 3 Zorro slots. So, from top to bottom there, for the Zorro ones you can see a Prisma Megamix. Now this, basically, Amigas with an 060 processor can do MP3s okay, but it still takes a lot of CPU time. And the Megamix will, in hardware, decode MP3s and FLACs quite happily, with virtually no CPU load. So you can stream internet MP3s, radio, etc. quite happily with no problems. Underneath it there's a ZorRam, which has got 256 megabytes of pretty slow Zorro 3 RAM, but it's quite useful as a RAM disk. And then underneath that, at the bottom, there's a Deneb card. That's got two things that really does. It acts as a USB hub, which can either access in PIO mode or DMA mode, which means it's pretty quick. So you can use all sorts of USB peripherals with your Amiga, keyboards, USB sticks, USB hard drives, anything like that. The other real ace up its sleeve is it's got a flash ROM, which is absolutely fantastic. It basically means that you can add a complete new kickstart to your machine. You can add new libraries, new workbench libraries, new modules, absolutely seamlessly. You don't have to worry about doing extra reboots or messing about with the startup sequence. Everything can get loaded into that and it just works perfectly. So PCI wise, there's a Sound Blaster at the top there, which means that AHI stuff can run in 16-bit audio, which is pretty cool, I guess. But the main thing is it acts as a mixer, so you can mix the Paula sound and AHI sound and the Prisma sound, and then also sound from the CD-ROM, all through one output. So everything just acts kind of nice and seamlessly together. And now the next one is the interesting card. That's a PCI G3 power processor, power PC, which standard is 800 MHz. This one's overclocked to about 1 GHz. So it's great for running WarPOS software, which quite a lot of guys are starting to port or develop, which just adds another string to the Amiga's bow, really. Underneath that is a Voodoo 3 graphics card for RTG, great for Warp 3D games. And then at the bottom there's just a network interface card, and then right at the bottom, which you can't see, is a Indivision AGA. So it basically means that I can use my LCD monitor with normal games and whatnot. So I'll just play a couple of bits of WarPOS software for you, just to show you how it kind of goes. So you can load up stuff like Quake runs quite nicely, essentially a version of GL Quake. Runs on the Power PC, runs nice and quick. So this is currently in 800 by 600. No slowdown whatsoever. I mean, it's still not as fast as a PC, but it's still pretty rapid, which is quite nice. Stuff like Quake 3 has been ported to that. I've done a quick video of that before on my little channel. Okay, so that's the Amiga 4000, which is a nice machine. Next one is my Amiga 1200. This is my original Amiga 1200, I think from 1992, which my brother and I bought when we were teenage kids. This has got a Blizzard 1260 060 processor, accelerator card in it, running at 18 megahertz. It's got a Idefix Express, which quite significantly increases the speed of the hard drive, and it's got an Indivision AGA2, which means that you can output quite a nice resolution workbench there. That's 1280 by 1024, 16 cores, because AGA is not that fast. That's my main WHD load machine for gaming. So generally I play normal Amiga games on that one, and then mess about with RTG and PowerPC stuff on that one. Okay, moving on then. So this is a Acorn A3000, sorry, A3020. Get that right, A3020. This is a machine that Acorn brought out, I think in 91 or 92, as a replacement to the A3000, which I have one of those there. It was slightly faster, clocked slightly faster. This one's got 4 megabytes of RAM. It's also got a SD card for a hard drive, and it's got a network interface, which means you can actually get online with this, which is quite fun. Underneath there, that's a BBC Master. And the interesting thing about this is you can see this little board sitting on top there. That's a Raspberry Pi Zero. So the output from the Master goes into the Raspberry Pi. I'm just going to turn it on. So, and then if we come up here, select the DVI on there, the Raspberry Pi basically outputs to the monitor. So it's all upscaled perfectly to 1600 by 1200. And there you go, you've got a BBC Master working on an LCD screen, which is quite cool. This Master's also got a BeebSID board, so you can play C64 SID tunes. It's got a internal coprocessor, a second processor, for playing the enhanced version of Elite and doing anything else that you want to do with a second processor. It's got an internal data center as well, which means that you can use a USB stick to really quickly load floppies and games and whatnot off. Okay, next machine on then is my Acorn A3000. This is the machine that I absolutely lusted after as a kid at school. This has got 4 megabytes RAM, and it's got an IDE podule, so I've got an SD card in to act as a hard drive. So that goes to this monitor here. And it's already set up and running. So the thing which I like to play on this more than anything else, is a classic game which you might remember called Zark. Made by the guy who made Elite. Absolutely loved this as a kid at school. Classic. Okay, moving on then. So here we've got a this one's a BeebSID. This is my dad's original BeebSID from October 1983. I know that because it says it on the power supply where he put our original postcode. So this this is the first computer that I started playing around with about 6 or 7 years ago. It's had a few upgrades. All I had to do was just change the capacitors on the power supply. That's a common problem with these, but then it worked first time. So this one's got an IFEL Ram board in it. It's got underneath it, it's got a Raspberry Pi acting as a second processor, and it's also got a little SD card there to act as a like a jukebox hard drive, and it's got a little a Wi-Fi RS232 jobby there, which plugs into the serial port, and it means that you can actually get online with this machine and look at view data pages like old teletext, which is pretty cool. So above it, this is an Acorn Atom. This was the precursor to the BeebSID, sorry, to the BeebSID A. I think released in 1980, one of Acorn's first machines. So this one has got a colour board in it. I'm just going to turn it on now and show you it working. It's got a colour board in it. It's been expanded with 32K of RAM. Bear with me. And it's so it should boot up on this screen now, if I've done it right. There we go. So it's quite heavily expanded, and again, this is one of those little Raspberry Pis acting as a essentially as a converter, so you can get it running on a an LCD screen. But if you look it down, I mean, I'll just show you something which I'm absolutely amazed with. This is the Electron version of Elite, but ported to the Acorn Atom, which is pretty cool. It's got a 1 MHz processor, but this has got a clock doubler, so I think it runs at about 1.8 MHz. Just speeds things up quite a bit. So that's a pretty cool machine, Acorn Atom. On top, that's a Breadbin C64. It's just got one of those SD cards on to act as like a game jukebox, and it's got a LumaFix as well, which gives slightly better output. It's all this is running. This uses S-Video, so if we turn it on, then I can use the S-Video on here, and that should pop up there. There you go, C64, and that does. These are really good monitors, by the way. This is a Dell FP2001. It's got lots of inputs, composites, S-Video, DVI, and VGA, so it's a great all-round monitor. Okay, so probably my favourite machine. This is my Atari Falcon, which I got a few years ago. This has got a CT60E processor board on it, so it's got an 040 processor, correction, 060 processor, and this runs on this one as well. So this is the Mint desktop. I'll just turn this on and off again, so you can see the boot up process. So that goes, it's running at 95 MHz. There you go. So this version, this is running, the operating system's Mint. You can get it to load the normal operating system if you want. So this is just booting into the operating system. I'd really like to get one of the upgrade video boards, a Super Videl for this. I'll get one when they finally get re-released. And there you go, that's a really cool machine, the old Falcon. I've not spent as much time with that as I perhaps should. I need to give it a bit more of a look. Down there, that's my original A500 Amiga. And that's a CPC6128. Again, I need to spend a bit more time with that. Okay, moving on then, Amiga 3000. Absolutely beautiful machine, this. I think Commodore kind of lost the way design-wise with the A2000, but they certainly got it back when they made the A3000. And this was a great Amiga. I mean, everyone seems to love it. It had the Amber chip, which was a built-in flicker fixer, and it had SCSI as well, which made it a lot snappier as a desktop machine. Now this is a pretty cool machine because it's got a Deneb card in it, it's got a CyberVision 64, it's got a Warp engine with an 060 processor on. It's also got a GoldenGate SLC2 bridge board. So it's basically a 486 PC as well, with an ATI Max 64 graphics card. And what I've actually had done is I've had the CPU replaced with a Texas Instrument one, and that is got a lot more cache than the standard processor that came with this 486 board, which means it's quite a lot faster as a PC. So here's it booting into the desktop. This is the RTG desktop, and this is an OS 3.9 setup. What you can do is you can then launch the PC from it, from the desktop, and after a few clicks, that's the 486 booting up. So it says 25 megahertz, it's actually running it. It actually gets clocked doubled to 50 megahertz. And you can pretty much run like Doom and stuff like Dark Forces on this. So inside there's a DOM 512 megabyte one with all the PC operating system on. So we'll just prove that by loading up Doom. There you go. PC Doom running on Amiga. It's not super smooth, but it's not bad. Certainly faster than, say, an 030 Amiga version of this. And then if you Alt Amiga Q, quit out of that, straight back to the Amiga desktop. That's quite cool. Okay, moving on then. So next machine is this one, which is a sorry about the bad light here. This is a Sharp 68000 Super HD, 4 megabytes of RAM. It's got a SCSI to SD card inside it. Now I'm running this using a open source scan converter, which basically means that it works great with both the 15 kilohertz and the 31 kilohertz modes. And this has got a load of games on it installed on the SD card, which you can just run straight from this file program. So let's just go down and the Street Fighter 2, because this is a pretty impressive version. Whilst that's loading, that's an Acorn A420/1. It's quite, I think they made about 8,000 or 9,000 versions of that. Archimedes. I've got a G5 Mac as well there with MorphOS on, and this is the hi-fi that I use to run everything through. How about that, 1987 this came out in. Incredible. A cool bit of kit the old 68000 is. Man, we wish he had this on the Amiga. Well, a better version of it at least. So there you go, so that's my computer setup. Not much room left. Shame I have to sit on the floor. Thanks for watching.